welcome to A Pinch of Basile. I am Basile, your host with the most. It is so back to be good with all of you. I have missed you all. You have no idea. If you're joining us on Facebook, thank you so much. But don't forget, you can call in at 844-790-8255. That's 844-790-8255. We live stream on Facebook. Even though I'm having issues trying to get on with my little equipment, don't worry about a thing. I got the crew taking care of it right now. So we live stream on Facebook. You can listen online at americamatters.us and on the TuneIn app from your phone or tablet. Just search America Matters. You don't have any excuses, really, to be quite honest with you. And if you do, you're lying to yourself, and that's not a good thing. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Janice Hermson. And how could we do this without our ever so capable chief engineer who is so patient with me, Christian Meyer. Christian, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you doing? Welcome back.
Good, man. Well, it's good to be back, to be quite honest with you. And Janice, without you, I am nothing. I admit that. You are my second wife, and and I'm not getting any benefits from that either. I'm just saying. Anyway, I am so happy I missed you with my favorite
Do you really
backdrop.
want me to comment on that?
No, please don't. Please don't. Because one day I would like to have something more than carnal knowledge of my wife. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes.
I'm here in my studio with my favorite backdrop behind me. And folks, we are going to be changing it. I promise you. We're working on this great new sponsor, and it's going to just look wonderful. We're really excited about it. And, but we really do have to do something about this. There's no two ways about it. You can follow me at Basile Fans. That's right. BASILEFANS on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can always follow me, like us, get the news, what's going on. Today we have a very, very wonderful and interesting guest, Eileen Pollack, author of Professor of Immortality, a novel. Her book is closely resembles the true story of the Unabomber, if you guys all remember the Unabomber, who was a student at the university where she taught for many years. And I'm really excited about having her. I hope she's excited about being on our show.
Yeah, I'm very excited about having her on. I have already started reading the book a little bit, and very interesting. Very interesting. Good writer.
Is she really? Okay, because listen, her accolades are huge. This is a woman who actually taught at Harvard, Tufts. She's from Emerson, the University of Iowa. Well, it's all right. We'll talk slower to those people. Anyway, she has received fellowships from the National Endowment for the Arts as well, Mishner Foundation, the Rana Jaffe Foundation, and the Massachusetts Arts Council. For her work has appeared Best American Short Stories, Pushcart Prizes, and Best American Essays. So I guess she knows how to write a couple of sentences.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, I would very, very be careful about that ma'am thing. Okay, anyway.
Come on. You're not identifying today.
Yeah, I'm not really identifying today. No, I'm too damn tired to be quite honest with you. I had to do a showcase in Phoenix, Arizona last night. So yesterday morning, I flew from Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way over to Phoenix, Arizona, took a couple of hours snooze, got ready, showered up, everything, did the show last night that I had to do. Then early this morning, flew back to Wilmington. I got here back in North Carolina about 3:30, believe it or not. Took care of a couple little odds and ends, prepared for the show because, I was really looking forward to coming back. I got to be quite honest with you because I've been away from that UK tour for that 1 week, and that threw everything in a tussy, running all over the place. And then all this other garbage that we were dealing with as far as doing these other side shows and whatnot. But I want to thank from the bottom of my heart all the wonderful people who made the Basile UK tour just something special. The Basile Cometh UK tour was absolutely hysterically funny. The fans are fantastic. I love the way the women talk. I love the way they treat me. They've been more than kind. We hit Bristol. We hit Nottingham. We hit Kent, which is like southern London. We hit Birmingham, like I said, and also, of course, we hit London. And it was just, those shows were just a lot of fun. And I want to thank them all. Thank you all so much for coming to the shows and being part of the Basile experience. And we're not going to do this every 2-year thing. I'm coming back every year. So we are putting actually together for next year, coming back again. We're negotiating with all the venues and stuff like that again, because we're going to come back, and it's just going to be, again, my heart goes out. And for my good friend Panny, who passed away, it was really in his memory that we wound up doing this show. So it was just something phenomenal. And we raised some nice money for the orphanage that he's involved in as well, that he was donating money. So to his parents and to all of his friends, I want to say thank you so much for coming and supporting the show. It was just a lot of fun. But guess what, Janice? I have other things to talk about real quick.
You got a minute 30. That's all you got.
Yeah, it's okay. October 27th, I'll be at this Sunday, St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church in Wildwood, New Jersey. If you want tickets, call 609-602-2153 or 609-425-0179. So make sure you do that. November 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to be at Giggles Comedy Club in Saugus, just outside of Boston. I'll be doing my American show, general audience show, and also my Greek show. You got to call. This venue will sell out, 781-233-9950. It's at Prince Pizzeria, but it's underneath in the basement. Huge club. November 7th through the 9th, I'll be at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls, 330-923-1962. November 22nd to the 23rd, I'll be at the Dead Crow Comedy Club in Wilmington, North Carolina. Then on the 24th, Growing Up Greek in America at the Dead Crow. I'm doing my Greek show there as well, so we're very, very excited. Then November 30th, I'll be at St. Sophia's Greek Orthodox Church right after Thanksgiving. So you got, listen, in my show, you can undo your belt buckle and your pants and watch my show, letting all that turkey bird get into your system while watching my show. That's St. Sophia's Greek Orthodox Church in Albany, New York. Make sure you get there. But, folks, I got to tell you, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for being fantastic fans. And, again, to the UK, I love you guys. But we got to go ahead and do some pay the bills and everything. We'll be right back after a pinch of basil.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station, the power of radio since 1967.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back. You're listening to Basile all around the world, everywhere from Australia. And don't worry, Oz, we're putting the dates together. I promise you. We want to make sure it's there, but we're in Australia, South Africa, all throughout Europe. We are in Central America, South America, North America, including Canada. And there's a little thing we're doing for Canada coming up very, very shortly as well. I'm looking to coming back all over the place. I love the touring. I really do. Janice, I got to be honest with you. I love when I can go out there and do my general audience stuff and also do my Greek stuff. To me, it's a lot of fun. So, listen, folks, for all of you out there, go to our TuneIn, to your TuneIn app, find America Matters, or just listen every week on americamatters.us. If you miss any part of this show, you'll find them on the podcast on the site, where this is a pinch of Basile on Facebook on the Basile fans page. That's BASILEFANS. Well, I don't know if we did this, to be quite honest with you, because of who I am, but today is National Nut Day. And
I hesitated to include that.
Yeah, my ass. You were the first one to jump in with both feet and say, this is Basile. Okay. It is indeed National Nut Day, and it's like mental nut. No, it's not other nuts either. No, this is the physical nut that you eat, Mr. Planner's peanut type thing. That's what we're going for. It's observed annually on October 22nd. This day is not about the neighbor, of course, that lives next door to you that you think is certifiable. It's not even about me, who you think is certifiable, but it's or the crazy co-worker next to you. It's a food holiday. And listen, I am the poster child for food. I got to admit, we're celebrating a healthy and nutritious snack. Nuts. That's right. Nuts are highly prized food and energy source, and they are primarily primarily a source of nutrients for both humans and wildlife. Many of them are used in cooking, believe it or not. Many eaten raw, sprouted, or roasted as a snack or food, and pressed for their oil. Peanut oil, to me, is one of the best oils to cook in. I used to work at a fast food company called Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. We only used the best, and that was peanut oil. Even when we fry fish, I love doing it with peanut oil. People say, well, I'm allergic to peanuts. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't remember anyone having any type of peanut allergies when I was growing up. Then all of a sudden, this new group of people who are sprouting up goes, I'm allergic to nuts. You're an idiot, okay? I have no idea what the hell's wrong with you. I've never had an issue. And I sit there, go ahead and eat the nut. My daughter can't eat nuts because she breaks out, but she can eat peanut butter. You explain this to me. You explain that, why you can eat peanut butter. I don't understand. It's the same thing. It's ground. Anyway, I can go on for Anyway, they even use peanuts for cosmetics. Have you ever smeared peanuts on your face or anything like that?
No, that's not happening.
It's not happening.
No, that's not happening.
Okay. Never had a crazy wild hair up here one day just saying, I'm just going to spread this all over my body. Nothing?
No. Those things don't happen.
I love giving peanut butter to dogs. You ever see a dog eat peanut butter? Most hysterical thing.
It is. It's funny. Put it in one of those little things that they have for the dogs, and it's good.
It looks like the dog is stuttering. That's where I got the little bit about little Petey.
Yeah,
the dog like.
Earl David Reed wants to know, when did the peanut become a weapon?
Well, it's kind of funny because there is a bomb that we're experimenting with right now. But it's only to our own people, because no one else around the universe has a peanut allergy except for Americans. I don't know.
Right.
Explain this to me. I know. But Old David Reed is absolutely correct. When did it become a weapon? That's all I'm saying. Send Mr. Planner's peanuts up into space, everyone's going to go crazy. But they're essential to animals. I mean, listen, it's really, how, nuts, what do you call it, the little squirrels put eggcorns
those little squirrel things, yeah.
Yeah, those little squirrel things. Okay. Several studies have shown that those who consume nuts regularly are less likely to...
We have a listener that GD says, I do use peanut butter to fill wrinkles. It keeps me young looking. How about that? Hey, I'm going to have to try some of that.
We have to take him off our show. We got to block him because there's something. I know I have, deviates that listen to my show and are fans of mine. I understand. But this is something. You don't want to put it in your crack. Imagine, if you will. No, don't even imagine that. Okay, because I can go on forever on this. This is not a good topic. I don't know. Why the hell did you bring this one up to me? I have no idea. It wasn't that my day was long enough.
Because they're very healthy, and we all need to be healthy, right?
Okay, on that note, yes, we need to be. How do we observe National Nut Day? To celebrate Nut Day, we have a snack consisting of raw nuts. I do like raw nuts. I really do.
Some, yeah.
Have you ever tried them?
I don't know if I've really done it in their super raw form. No.
They're really delicious. I know it sounds disgusting. Excuse me, but they're very, very good. Look, I like cashews. I love pistachios. I love any type of nut. I really do. But I got to be honest with you. Peanuts, I can eat them all day till the cows come home. You give me a 6-pack of beer, or a couple of wine coolers, or you give me, oh my God, some good booze and nut parade.
There you go.
It's a nut parade. Yeah, what do you think, Christian? You like nuts?
I'm a huge fan of cashews, but walnuts and almonds,
not so much.
You know what? If you take walnuts, shelled walnuts, and mix them with white raisins, like a combination of the two together, there's something about the taste of the walnut being, kind of like it's just very, very flat and woodsy, and along with the sweetness of the raisin, it's awesome. It is simply awesome. And I like drinking with my bourbon on the rocks. To me, that's a great snack to have with some bourbon. It's really good, but you got to try it, man. You don't like the walnuts, huh?
And you went even further away as soon as you mentioned raisins. Now, give me the bourbon, leave the walnuts and raisins, and we're good to go.
He's good.
I got to take you guys out for drinking because you people don't know what the hell's going on.
Come on. A good margarita is always something that I'll go for. Right?
Yeah, because you can get them anywhere. I just want bourbon on the rocks, or bourbon straight. You want to give it to me neat? I'll drink the bourbon. Oh, my God. Have you tried the new – I don't know if you're a big bourbon drinker, either one of you. Have you tried this Crown Royal, but it's a peach flavor Crown Royal?
I have not.
I can't say I have, but I am a fan of Crown Royal on its own.
Yeah, just do me a favor. Go to your local liquor store and get some Crown Royal. That's the peach-flavored Crown. It is simply outstanding on some rocks. I usually
and
7
maybe
Up.
Add some Aldi's nuts. Jeff Smith wants to know if you've tried some Aldi's nuts.
Why do I have to deal with my fans like this?
I knew you'd love that.
Yeah, they are the reason why I don't have nice things. That's all I'm saying. Okay, they drive me crazy. I do like nuts. My daughter's Caterina is allergic to nuts, and as soon as she took off to go to Los Angeles, we all had a nut party, and we took out every nut in the world, and I rubbed them all over my body just to say that I didn't use the peanut form and put it in my wrinkles and my cracks and stuff like that. I didn't do that, but it was definitely good. It was so funny because everyone had to clean the house really good because my daughter is that crazy when it comes to being allergic to nuts. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. Besides that snack, what do you guys like eating for snacks?
Popcorn.
I'm a baked goods fan.
Chocolate chip cookies, right?
Oh, yeah.
I found that out yesterday.
How about if you slightly burn the chocolate chip cookies and make them crunchy?
Not for me.
No, I like a chewy.
Yeah, chewy, soft. Yeah.
I see there's something wrong with you guys. That's all.
Must be a West Coast thing.
Could be.
I like them when they're like crunchy, where they're slightly just overburnt, just ever so slightly with milk. Oh, that's good stuff. It's National Make a Dog Day. National Make a Dog Day, October 22nd.
Make a Dog's Day. D-O-G-S.
National Make a Dog's Day.
Yes, make a day for the dog. Come on. So it's go out there, go out there and adopt a dog, right? Make their day.
Adopt a dog. I was trying to, as I was reading this quick, I said, how to make a dog? I don't know.
Make a dog's day.
Make a dog.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes,
what are we going to do with you? Subaru's making a big thing out of that. They're doing some wonderful things.
As they should. Listen, I love dogs. I really do. Seriously, go to some of the pounds out there and some of the areas that have some of these abandoned dogs and whatnot. They're beautiful puppies.
They are.
And even adult dogs, they're just great. And I love being around. So if you could, and if dogs could talk, this is something that I've been reading on. If dogs could talk and what are dogs thinking is something that I want to be able to go on another segment. Maybe next week if we could do that.
Oh, I've got a great book about that.
Oh, my God. I'm really, really thinking. But anyway, listen, the Subaru people are making Make a Dog's Day history by actually going. So, listen, as part of this, Subaru loves this month. They really do. In October, the automaker with a lifetime commitment to loving pets has created another way to make a difference. In 2015, Subaru, in partnership with the ASPCA, created Make a Dog's Day to raise awareness for pet adoption by showing the world just how good it feels to make a dog's day. And it's fantastic. And I want to tip my hat off to Subaru for doing that, to be quite honest with you. I think that's great. But, folks, listen, it's about that time. Again, we'll be right back after a couple of words from our sponsors, and we'll be back with Eileen Pollack.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now, back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back on with a pinch of basil. Don't forget, I am streaming this live on Facebook. You can also listen on TuneIn app or any phone or device. Once you have the app, just search America Matters. If you're on the computer, just go online to americamatters.us. We want to hear your comments. Go to my Basile fans page, and if you have any questions for our guest, Eileen Pollack, who will be on in just a moment, you can give us a call at 844-790-8255. Again, 844-790-8255. Or you can also text. And Janice, can you give them that number, please?
Absolutely. You can text to 775-237-2266. So,
oh, my goodness.
Get us your questions.
Yeah, I get your questions ready. This is going to be great. Our guest, ladies and gentlemen, to be quite honest with you, Eileen Pollack, who has taught at Harvard University, Tufts, Emerson, and the University of Iowa. She has received fellowships from the National Endowment for the Arts, the Mishner Foundation, the Rona Jaffe Foundation, and the Massachusetts Arts Council. Her work has appeared in Best American Short Stories, Pushcart Prizes, and the Best American Essays. She is the author of five novels, 2 collections of short stories, and a work of creative nonfiction called Women Walking Ahead in Search of Catherine Weldon and Sitting Bull, made into a major motion picture starring Jessica. Is it Chastain? Chastain?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how she pronounces it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Among many other
She's a big movie star, we should all know, but Jessica Chastain. Yeah.
Not so much. I just call her Jessie. That's all. But that's me. Her most recent novel, The Professor of Immortality, closely resembles the true story of the Unabomber who was a student at the university where she taught for many years. Eileen, thank you for being with us, and welcome to A Pinch of Basile.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, as you should be, for God's sakes. I mean, this is going to be the highlight of your career. Forget all the stuff that you did before and, teaching at Harvard. Listen, look, I went to community college. Now, that's a tough act to follow. Harvard, not so much.
Yeah, don't get too excited about that. I was very young, and it was teaching, like, their freshman composition course, and I only did it for a year. I just taught for 25 years at the University of Michigan, so that's more the real story on where I've been teaching, which is a public university.
Yeah. It's Michigan, though. I know, Iowa, Michigan, yeah, that's Big Ten stuff. When you talk Purdue, we'll talk something special. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Well, welcome to the show. And I got to ask you, did you ever hear of the Unabomber? Did you ever know of him? Did he ever, because you taught it at the same university at the same time? Was there anything that
Well, he had actually gone through. He graduated much before I got there, so he went through in the '60s and the early '70s, and I didn't arrive at Michigan until the mid '90s. But I had been following him, we didn't know who he was, but, everybody read about him in the newspaper. And I have a tech and science background, so I was especially interested because he was targeting computer scientists and different, universities, psychology departments and things. But the connection was when I got to Michigan, I was teaching in the creative writing program, and one of our graduates had actually been working for a professor at Michigan, a psychology professor, who was the recipient of one of the Unabomber's first packages, and it had exploded when he opened it, and so our former student was really severely injured. So I knew that connection, but then when the Unabomber's manifesto came out in 1995, and it was his brother who recognized the writing and turned him in, it turned out that Ted Kaczynski had spent 5 years at Michigan getting his PhD in math. And so, again, this had been before I was there, but I'd had a lot of students that were sort of like him or could have ended up, I think, the Unabomber. And one of Kaczynski's former professors said, oh, my God, he was one of my very best students. I gave him my only A+. And it just got me thinking, what if this had been one of my former students and I had recognized the writing, and, would I have turned him in? What would I have done, especially if it had been a student I'd been close to?
Wow. And can you imagine? I would have been devastated if that was one of my students, especially one that I gave high marks for his work, because he looked like a normal cat, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I didn't see anything.
Well, yeah, that's what, most people, when they think of Kaczynski, are picturing what he looked like when they dragged him out of that cabin in the woods. But when he was a young man, he was very handsome, very clean cut. He tried to be a good boy, and was quiet and polite, and I was really curious what happened and made him snap and go from being this, brilliant, quiet, sort of socially awkward student in Michigan to being this serial killer.
I mean, did your background as a professor at the university play a large part as the inspiration for this book? I mean, knowing some of the students and professors that you worked with afterwards, after he graduated, was that a large inspiration for you?
It was. Again, that I've had so many students like this, who, especially these sort of, very bright, angry, disaffected, young, usually white guys who seem to have problems relating to women. And I always made it sort of one of my special missions. I try to win them over, connect to them, and often did, and felt good about it. And so, I was really interested in the psychology. There's so many of these guys now are snapping and going out, and not so many, but enough that they're in the news all the time and killing all these people. And you just have to wonder why. What's really going on? What are they missing that would make them? Is there some kind of ideology? Where does the hate come from? And I thought I would use Ted Kaczynski as sort of a stand-in for thinking about that.
And I'm just out of curiosity, when you see something, and it is not any of the questions that we have here, but just out of my curiosity, when you see someone who is somewhat deranged in their writing and has a passion for that, do you find an obligation to say something to somebody that says, hey, I think we got a little bit of an issue with this one, student
Well,
of mine?
Basile, that's just such a terrific question, because people don't realize that it's almost always somebody's writing teacher who gets the first inkling that something's wrong, right? But
Sure.
It's very hard to tell, because a lot of young people, especially young guys, but even young women, when they get to college, there's, freedom, and they're taking a creative writing course, or they're supposed to write about their lives in a, nonfiction course, and they write some really disturbing stuff, but often it's because they were raised in a culture where, all we see on TV and in movies, is violence and sex and deranged stuff and, all this porn. So sometimes they're just like letting loose or being teenagers or whatever, and they're not disturbed. And I mean, once when I was in high school, one of my high school teachers called my mother. She thought I was going to kill myself, or that I was deranged because I was writing about death all the time. And, it's just part of being a teenager. But sometimes it's really problematic, and it does foretell. So at Virginia Tech, it was the guys writing professors who were alarmed and trying to get somebody to listen. And so it's something I've lived all the time, especially if you run a writing program. It comes up all the time, like people are like, look what my student wrote, what should I do about it? And often the answer is nothing, or just talk to the person, but sometimes it really is. You've got to get the counseling service in, or, the students could either hurt themselves or hurt somebody else. And I can't tell you how many times I had that happen where I was afraid, really, that something terrible was going to happen. So, I really wanted to write about that, too. I mean, some of it's mental illness, and mental illness usually comes out, when somebody hits college age for the first time. But sometimes it's not, and it's just somebody's incredibly lonely, angry, they've had a terrible childhood, or, they can't get anybody to love them, which was really, I think, Kaczynski's problem. And that's part of what I was trying to explore in the book.
Yeah, I mean,
and what can we do for these young people, usually these young men, to make them feel more connected and loved, and have a sense of belonging to something larger, and channel those passions into good rather than evil.
Yeah, and you know what? Every time you see a mass murder or something, and they interview the various people, the neighbors, it goes, he was such a quiet person. he never really had nothing to say. He was just, kept to himself. Those are the ones that I'm most concerned about. To someone who's really a loner, I'm always concerned about them. I think
it's the lack of connection that really drives drives people over the edge. And again, that's what happened with Kaczynski. He left journals, and so I'm not making this up. If he was bullied as a kid. He was very bright, was ostracized for it, was skipped ahead. He went to Harvard, and he was a poor Polish kid with one pair of pants and two shirts. And back in the days when it really was an elitist institution, he was treated terribly there. He was subject to some crazy professor's really sadistic psychology experiments. But in Michigan, I think the problem was he just so desperately wanted to love a woman and be loved, and he couldn't. He got so angry at society because he felt nobody prepared him to achieve that, and he got so desperate he just snapped.
And there you go, folks. When you're looking for a man to love, change someone's life and love a guy who's by himself. So we could stop this. That's all I'm saying.
There's a big debate about that, but Basile, because there are feminists who say, look, these guys, it's not our obligation to make sure they get laid. They're called incels now, right? And it's really not. On the other hand, maybe it's society's obligation to try to raise young people who feel loved and connected. And, I'm a mother. I have a son. I was trying to figure that out, especially if you've taught for
hold on to that thought for 1 second. We're going to be right back after with Eileen Pollack, who's doing a wonderful job. I love this. So stick around. You're listening to A Pinch of Basile. Thank you so much.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
Oh, so glad you could join us on A Pinch of Basile. We have been having some fun here with my very special guest, Eileen Pollack. Thanks so much for joining in on Facebook. And don't forget, you can call in and text us, too. If you have questions, again, please go ahead and text us those questions. One more time, Janice, so let them know that number to text.
Sure, 775-237-2266.
That's right, and you can also call in at 844-790-8255. We're back with Eileen Pollack, who's talking a little bit about Ted Kaczynski, who's basically, I guess, the main thrust on what this book was all about that she wrote, a professor of immortality. And we were talking about how it's these introverted college guys who were having the issues, who turned and lost their minds and become these mass murderers, and they start killing people, and it's really exists. And can you just one more time for me, because this made me laugh so hard, what young women are saying? It's not our fault. What you were saying before I had to abruptly cut you off to go into our break, because it was hysterically funny to me to see what you were telling us.
Well, there is talk about there's this group of young men now. Many of them are just kind of acting like trolls on the internet, and they earn the nickname incels, involuntary celibates, and they turn really nasty and go after people. And some of them have actually gone out and committed these acts of violence that we read about in the paper. And so in feminist circles, there's some discussion of it, that it's not the obligation of women to make sure that these guys have sex, and it's not, right? But the question is, if such a large segment of the population is that angry and alienated and feels cut off from love and human contact, is there something not just women but society in general should be doing to, make them more human, make them not want to go out and kill people?
Yeah, I think it's women's responsibility to make us men happy.
It's because you're a man.
So we don't do that. Yeah, of course I'm a man. This is the reason why I'm saying this. My God, you finally
Funny,
put it together.
I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah.
I am more than happy to satisfy a woman to keep America safe. That's all I'm saying. I'm doing it for my country and for mankind. If you people would just understand what I go through. In your book, the protagonist that you have, is it Maxine Sayre?
Right.
Yeah, and was she having a very, very bad, time with her husband? What was going on with this? When you start, but she saw that her marriage was falling apart.
No. She's, as the novel starts, she's a widow. Her husband.
Oh, she is a widow. Okay.
She really had a wonderful marriage, but her husband has died some years before, and her son has gone missing. And it's ironic because she directs something at the university. I made this up, called the Institute for Future Studies, because she's always been so interested in what the future is going to bring, and her field of study is called immortality studies, where she's interested in these predictions that human lifetimes are going to be extended by hundreds of years and how that's going to change what it means to be human. So she's been teaching these kinds of courses, which is how she had the Kaczynski character as a student. But the irony is she once wanted to live forever. She couldn't imagine, she couldn't stand the fact that one day she was going to die, but now she's so depressed, having lost her husband and her son's missing, her mother's dying, that she can't even get out of bed in the morning. She doesn't even want to make it through another day. And then on top of that, she reads the manifesto in the newspaper and starts to suspect that it was this former student that she was very fond of who turned into, I call him the techno bomber.
Oh, Janice, I want to, because I don't want to eat up all the questions here either. Janice, please.
Well, I'm just totally fascinated by the whole immortality issue, because I've known so many people off and on throughout the years that have talked about, we should live forever, and have had many discussions about that. So how did you incorporate that into this book, and what do you have certain feelings about it?
I did, so I that part is taken more from my own life. And, when I was growing up, even when I was a little kid, I just could not wrap my mind around the fact that one day I wouldn't exist. And then much more recently, when I started reading, I don't know if you've heard of this guy, Ray Kurzweil, who talks about the singularity and how sort of by the middle of this century, all these branches of science and medicine will come together and make us live forever. And I just felt like, oh, my God, I'm just going to miss it. Humankind has existed for like millions of years, and I almost made it. How can I stay alive for, another 40, 50 years? And I think he's over-optimistic, but I do think, certainly by the end of the century, by the next century, we're going to be living hundreds of years. So
then I'm going to have to
I'm really curious what that's going to do.
Right. I'm going to say, because then what about all the people that are biblically inclined, and the whole point of dying, right, is to go see your maker.
Is to go to heaven, right?
What? Yeah, now what?
Exactly. So I wanted to look at that. So
We're just postponing it.
Oh, is that what it is?
No. Well, there are a lot of things. I mean, how often are we going to get married? Or are you only going to have kids when you're young and then live for 1,000 years with just those kids? Or will you be having kids when you're like 800 years old?
Yeah, you can have another book altogether, right?
Well, so Maxine, my character, teaches a class in this, and so I had a lot of fun writing what her students think of the idea of living for hundreds of years and how that would change everything, from religion to literature to art to families. Or would you care about your grandparents if you knew they were going to live forever? Would you ever go visit them? Or, that kind of stuff.
My grandchildren better.
But will your great-great-great-great-great grandchildren
well, I might not care about them.
Right. It's going to be so different. And the other part of the book is... Oh, sorry, Basile, go ahead.
No. Finish the other part of the book, please.
Oh, no, all I was going to say was that I was really interested in a woman's point of view on this. Like most of the futurists who study this kind of stuff are men, and most of the people inventing our future for us are very young men out in Silicon Valley. And the rest of us are all going to have to live in that future. And so I'm not sure that these young straight white guys in Silicon Valley really know enough about life to really build the future that the rest of us are actually going to want to live in.
The only hope you have is that those young straight boys have moms too that are probably in the back of their behind them saying
but
something.
Do they listen to them?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
Do they love them or do they hate them?
Listening?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. I come from an island in Greece that my mother and my grandparents and everything come from. It's called Ikaria, and it's referred to as the Blue Zone. And places like Sardinia and Okinawa exist where people live to be in their hundreds. And I've come to a conclusion that has nothing to do with technology or medical anything. It has nothing to do with it. It's bitterness, because they do not want to give up any type of their property or any type of their homes. They will live forever to make sure that those little bastards of their kids and their grandkids don't even touch that stuff. So to me, it always makes me laugh about that. But yeah, future studies, I have no problem, having people develop. We had a guest on. I forgot our wonderful guest that we had on there, talking about the actual issues that there's these moral questions that are we stepping on this moral ground that if we create hearts, and if we create kidneys or lungs from a petri dish and we're extending life, are we doing something that is really immoral? And I said, if God gave us the ability to go ahead and think and create this stuff, then it's got to be okay. But that's my opinion. Other people had different opinions. I think if we can live to be as long as into the 150, can you imagine retirement age in 100 years from now will be 125? I think 125 is a great retirement age, to be quite honest with you.
Right. But will you work the same job for 100 years? That's how many different careers will you have? It's pretty interesting to think about,
to say the least. Where can people get your book? Please let us know.
Anywhere, really, that you can get books. So your friendly local bookstore, the chain bookstores, Amazon.com, the indie booksellers online. And if somebody doesn't have it, I'm sure they would order it for our listeners.
Oh, that's fantastic. Eileen, I want to tell you, I love to have you back. And what I'm going to do is actually, because I finally got a copy of the book, but I was on tour in the UK and I never got the opportunity. But thank you so much for being part of Pinch of Basile. This has been fantastic, and looking forward to talking with you again.
Totally my pleasure. Would love to come back.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was Eileen Pollack with her wonderful book that she read, The Professor of Immortality. Right now, just a couple of reminders. Don't forget to listen every week on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 New York City time. That's East Coast time. We can be heard all around the world on AmericaMatters.us. If you're using the TuneIn app, just search America Matters, and be sure to keep it as one of your favorites. Questions, comments, go to Basile Fans, Basile Fans, on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and give us a call at 844-790-8255. Thanks so much for joining us, and I want to tell you, everything better with a pinch of Basile on it. You are listening to A Pinch of Basile with your host, Basile. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great day.